Okay, guys, welcome to today's class. Today is week 3. Um, so we'll continue from where we stopped yesterday. So yesterday we discussed, we created our REST API. We created our REST API using Node. No framework. Then we, after that I tried to create, trans to migrate our code from normal functional paradigm to class based. So we'll continue from there. I will write that particular REST endpoint into class, because when I want to use class is we are going to our project is going to be going to be written with class. So I want you guys to be familiar with class coding on in TypeScript, so that it will be very easy for us. So I'm going to do that. Then when I'm done with that, we're going to create a full CRUD operation REST API. We'll create a CRUD endpoint for user, just to manipulate user, create user, update user, read user, and delete user. So that's the CRUD operation. I'm going to do that. So then we'll do that without database. Everything on Node, not Express yet. Everything will be just Node. I want you guys to be familiar with Node, so that when you start using Express, any framework, get to understand how everything is being done in the background, how those things are being implemented in the background. Right? That's why I'm taking time to introduce us to Node itself, creating a REST APIs with Node proper. All right. So um, without much ado, let's jump into our code. I'll be sharing my screen. Um, okay. Please give me thumbs up if you can see my screen. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. So that's we're good. All right. Okay. So my VS Code is opened, and I divided the editor into two panels. This one on the right hand side is the this is where we left off yesterday. So I was trying to convert this code here into class base. All right. So I think I'm going to continue that today's class app server. So please pay attention to, if you can code along, that would make a lot of sense. That's you. So here, sorry. So we are importing almost the same thing. We are importing the same thing. So the imports are the same. No changes made on import. Then no change made on the import. Let me check out something. All right, so guys, let's start. So I'm going to declare two private members, two private property on the class. First one will be port. The type will be number. The next one will be the server property, and the type will be HTTP server. Right. So this red line means that I haven't used them. So you just letting me know that I have not used them. It's not an error. So let me call it just server. All right. So let's define our constructor. Please, if you need my attention, just unmute and speak so that I can hear you. If you type anything in the box right now, I can't see that, because already I'm in my code editor. So our constructor is going to take a port number, a port parameter of, then I'm going to give it, it's going to be optional though. So what do we do with this? Just initialize it with the port variable. Then we also need to initialize. Now we need to create our server here. Then http dot create server. Now guys, so this is it. I've initialized I've created the constructor, but there's still something I will need to do. All right, because if you check here, if you check the functional implementation here, when I called this create server, I gave it a function, the request handler. All right, but here I am yet to do that. So how are we going to handle that? Okay, so let's just see. I'm here to create it. So let's create the request handler as a method in the class. So it's going to be a private method, because it's supposed to be, we don't want anybody to have a direct access to it. So it's going to take, like it is here, it's going to take requests and response parameters. All right, so the type is going to be same thing, incoming message and server response. Okay, so we're going to do almost the same thing we did here. Set head, then additional thing, let me add something here. These are just conventional things. You don't need to worry about them for now. When you start using Node, you get familiar with them. The header, okay, just leave that for now. So we've set the header here. Then I think we are good. All right, we're good now. Then here you can now do something like this. So no, not call. All right, now there's something I want us to look at. I want to do here, because we are implementing a class. We are doing class implementation, and one thing about class is a template for creating objects, instances of that class. So there's something I'm going to do here, although I will need to explain it later, but just have it in mind that this kind of thing happens. For class, we're going to bind the instance to the request handler. So how we'll do that is, how we're going to do that is this. Right, now the reason why we need to do this, write this bind this, is that so that here now, if I want to, let's say I want to call the port number here, I will do this dot port here. All right, now why we included this bind parameter is that we need to bind the instance, any particular instance, to this request handler, to the method, so that this here, if I refer to this here, it will be the particular instance of the class, that particular instance, because we can for a class you can create multiple objects or multiple instances of that class. So this, when you are using this on the method of the class, you are making reference to the particular instance to that particular instance of the method, of the class, sorry. So just this is the thing here. I wish I have time to explain it, and it's one of the things I forgot to explain when we are talking about objects in JavaScript. So but that being said, let's just go ahead. Then let me create a method to start our server. Oh, let me just do this. How to handle, let's handle our requests here. Then let's create a public method to start our server. It's going to return void. So return void. We're not returning anything here. So this dot server dot listen. All right. So this is the method now. This code here is what I'm calling here now. But this function here, I'm not going to create a new function in the method. I'm just going to write everything directly into it. So I'm not going to create this listen function. I'm just going to write it directly here. So it's going to the server listen. The server dot listen is, we take two parameters, two arguments, the port, which is this dot port, and any function. So I'll just put an arrow function here. The arrow function will console log. And I'm going to put same statements. Then this one will be dot port. Alright guys, so this is it. I've transposed this code to class. Alright, so everything as it is here now. So what was the next thing now to do is to instantiate our class and run it. Okay, and it's very easy. So we just use the class has been defined. Just just do something like my server, then new, then I can just leave it like this because it's supposed to take port arguments, because here it's supposed to take port argument, but it's optional because what this means is that this is optional. If I don't provide it, it will automatically be assigned 5,000. So I can leave it like this, or I can assign it. So then I have instantiated the class. Then the next thing is to start it. So we start it with, if I call this method, it's going to call the listen function, the listen method. Then now this is it. Our server is ready to run. So if I come here, let me see if I am in the right directory. No, yes, okay, I'm not here. Okay, I'm here. So if we come to, yeah, so let's update our command, our script command. So if I run npm run dev, which is this command, so I'm trying to execute this now. So this command now we execute this file. This is our node HTTP class, because this is where I implemented the class. All right, so if I call it, this is where I implemented our server. Sorry, if I call it now, so let's hold on and see. It's coming. It has not started yet. All right, so we are up now. But let me do something here to differentiate. Let me put class so that we know that it's updating. Okay, as you can see, the update is here, server class running on port 5000. So if we come to our postman, these are postman here, the one we mentioned yesterday, we used yesterday. I'm targeting HTTP localhost 5,000, which is where our server is running. So if I click send the requests, I'll get the response, hello from node server, which is this. Let me change the response so that, let me put class server. So before it starts, okay, if I send the query again, see, change hello from node class server. So guys, now I'm going to do something here. Of course, this is just our API is not, it's just bare, it's just very bare, it doesn't do anything special. So let's do some implementations here. So I'm going to let's do some manipulation. That will be okay. So let me remove this. Okay, let's see. Now requests have some property. This request.url, all right, it speaks out the URL that the request is coming from. Okay, so now let's do some coding here, some checks. If the URL is prop normal, there's nothing attached, it's just absolute, and the request is method, and the method is get. So we want to like separate, start routing our requests. This is what basically what routing does. We want to start routing our requests. So if I do this, I will say if we are sending requests, normal requests, and a get method, we're going to respond to it with this what I'm implementing now. Status code equal to 200. Then I want to include the message to send. Now I want to do this message. I want to send a message, an object, message object. Welcome. All right, but this will cause a problem, because when you are when we are sending requests, when in REST APIs, requests and response, all right, requests and response, when the servers are communicating via the HTTP network, data, as you can see, this is an object I am trying to send. I'm trying to respond to this request using an object data type. It's going to cause a problem because it's this kind of data cannot be sent over the network. So I need to like convert it to string, JSON string. So if I convert it to JSON string, it will work. It is going to the data is going to be sent accordingly. And if you like, when we start working with start querying, start building our recipe, as you're going to see that whenever we're sending requests, we're going to, when we are sending, we'll stringify. Then when we receive when we receive into our server, we need to pass it into JSON or object data type. So it's just for you to be aware. Maybe you may not understand what I'm saying now, but when we start practicalizing and building the real application, you're going to understand what I'm saying. So this is what I'm going to do in JavaScript. In JavaScript here, there is something called JSON, and this JSON has two this thing. It has pass and stringify methods. All right, so you can use stringify to convert object data type to strings. Then use pass to convert stringified objects to JSON. All right, so we're going to use this here because we have an object that I want to convert to, we want to stringify. So we'll do this, put it in the method here. So then we're going to, this is okay now. So This for when this route comes this way, then we're going to add another condition, another if. Then if our URL is this, is something like this about, and the request method is get, then let's respond with this. The response is going to be the status code is going to be 200. Now we're going to discuss status code. Like when you are dealing with REST APIs, status code are very important because it tells the client what the server is saying about the request. When a client sends request to a server, the response it receives, it comes with a status code, and the status code tells the client what's happened to that request. If it is 200, anything from 200, within the range of 200 to 300, 200, not more than 200, it symbolizes a successful request. Then 300 is something else. 400 is a bad request. All right. Then 500 is 500 is the problem is will be from the server. If the client server received a response from the server that it sent request to, and the status code is 500, it means that the problem is with the server. So that's basically we're going to discuss that though. But for now, let's just concentrate on this and see. And the message I'm going to send. Hello guys, hope my network is not breaking. So let's stringify it. So let me bring it out first. Okay, let's add. Okay, no, let's add another. Then if this request is, if the request is not among this, is not any of this. Sorry, it's not any of this. You send a 404. Status code. See, there's an error here. Routes. Let's import this. Okay. So guys, I'm done. Let's check it out. So what I did here is that I'm checking the request and the URL, the method that is coming in. I'm checking the URL and the methods of the requests that are coming in. So if you send a proper, like normal request, like the one we did, I'm going to send you this message. Then if you send to this path, about path, and it's a get method, the server will respond to this. But if you didn't send any of this, our server will tell you 404. All right, so like we don't have that part. So if I click this now, you see the message. All right, see, welcome to free NodeJS backend course. That's this response that we got now, this particular one. All right, then if I come here and add that slash about, all right, you see all these things are ignored, right? This localhost 5000 is localhost port 5000. They are ignored. They are not part of the URL per se. They are not part of the URL. All right, they are not part of this thing here. Okay, is what you add after it, like this about / about is what is the URL that the server will be picking out. Okay, so if I send this and it's get method, look at the method here is get, and this is the URL here. So if I send this, you see the response about this server built with Node.js TypeScript. So this is it here. This is the response we got about this server. This is about the server built with Node.js. So if I send something else, let's say I send user. User is not defined. I didn't define any path for user. I'm going to get 404. So I got 404. The status here has changed. 404 not found, and the message here is route not found. All right. So this is the message here. The status changed, and this is for the message we got. So guys, this is a very good server. So if you are coding along, please document this, and I'll share this code. Also, I'll share it to our GitHub repo. So guys, the next thing that we're going to do, let's implement the CRUD server that I'll talk about. We're going to edit here. We are not posting anything, we are not updating anything, but in this example now, let's try and do some CRUD operation. So I'm going to call this let's open a new project. Let me cut out so that port will be ready. Hello guys, hope we are following through. So I'm going to create let me close this. All right. So this is going to be a proper server. So now this is a new project. Let's initiate our npm. So first thing first, when you want to start your project, so the first thing we'll do is npm init. Then I'll just put dash forward hyphen yes hyphen y to just initialize everything as default for me. All right, so everything is now package.json has been created with the name and everything. So I'll just change this to node first. All right, so then I'll install my TypeScript. npm, let me use install the dash save dev TypeScript. Okay, then at the same time I want to also install types for node. Okay, then that is it. Click enter.
Recording is on.
Guys, don't worry about recording. I'm using a software here to record. I don't need. So I'm waiting for this thing to. Okay, still installing. Okay, it has installed. So we now have TypeScript and node types. So what we'll do now is to instantiate our TypeScript project. So we do that with npx tsc hyphen init. Guys, don't worry, these commands is going to be in our repo, so we'll understand them. So here our TypeScript project has been initiated.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like the step that it takes to set up the repos and all of those stuff. Is it captured in the lecture slide?
Yes, yes. Okay. Don't worry. Okay, I'll put it in the README of GitHub. Then
Oh,
maybe I will update the
okay,
slides.
okay.
I'll update the slides
Oh,
because
all right.
I
Thank
didn't
you very
include it
much.
yesterday. All right. So it's just very simple. There are basically three commands. I use npm to initiate to initialize the project, and then install TypeScript, then initialize TypeScript project. So now I have initialized the TypeScript project. So this is what we're going to do now. I will come to my tsconfig.json. I will uncomment this so that this will be my root directory where the TypeScript code are going to be kept, going to be written. Then I also uncomment the out directory. This is where the compiled JavaScript version of my code is going to be stored. Alright, automatically. I'll have to create this by myself, but TypeScript will create this when I build the project. Okay, so we have not built any projects here, like we have not compiled any projects, but this one now we're going to compile it and you guys will see how it's been done. Then I'll come here, I will uncomment this and comment, and I will comment out this and uncomment this. Then I can also do this because it says for Node.js, so that is done. Then I'll come down here, and this verbatim I don't like using it. Okay, so leave everything as it is. Then the I'll add, was that module inter, yeah, this one module inter as true. All right, then we are good. Then I'll come here, I'll create my src source folder. Then when that is done, I'll just create my file server.ts. Then we are good to go. So guys, this is going to be, so I will import http from,
Sorry, can you copy the content of the packages on in the comments just so we can be sure that our config is actually the same with yours?
okay, okay,
Yeah,
let me
just copy it
remove,
in the comments just so we can
yeah,
take
let
a
me
look
remove
at it
all
and
this,
update.
all this
No, no,
code.
sorry, sorry. I meant the CS config.
Yeah, I know that's what you meant. That's what I'm doing now. Let me place it. You can just copy it and paste directly, and everything will be okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Right then, let me import the types of incoming message server response. All right, so just basically the same thing we did. Then let's create our app. Then just like, all right, okay, okay, let's create port number. Um, just the same way what we did the other time. server http dot server, then constructor, then something here. I want to add something. We want to be creating users, create user, update user, delete user. So we're going to create, let me give this any now, but let me create an interface for user, how the user object we're going to be creating is going to look like. So it's just like we are modeling our database. All right, so DB for user entity, our user interface to initialize it's going to be like an object type. So the user, for the user, the ID will be a number item. Then we'll have name will be string, email, or if I can type. Okay, so now this is going to be this, and I can initialize it with empty array. All right, so you guys understand this is we are doing array of this type. All right, array of this interface.
Sorry, can you also push the package JSON just so we're sure that our packages are actually complete?
Okay, this is it. It's just two packages that I've installed.
Okay, you did not do the okay, you know there was one package you did yesterday. It's like you know that package
The
today.
dev, yes,
Maybe
yes, I will do it.
PSP
I will do
node or
it.
something.
Okay, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Okay, just do npm install -d, capital D. Then is this one to run our TypeScript. Okay, is this one. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is it. Install it. Let's do that now, sir. So while it's installing, we can continue. So let's we'll take ports just like we did. Port number. I think that will be it. Then okay, let's initialize our server. No. Okay, yeah. Create server. There to be. Let's leave it here now. Let's do now we're going to make this method async because we're going to be using awaits asynchronous. It's going to be an asynchronous method. So request still incoming message, response still be server response, right? So now let's handle that. Let's handle our requests. Okay, so let's import this. I'd like to put this first here so that this module help us to handle as pass URL. Guys, hope you understand what I did here. This keyword as pass URL. So I don't want I am importing this. This is a name import, right? This is a name, just like we have name export, like I explained yesterday in the module. So this, I'm importing this as name import, but I don't want to use it. I want to rename it to something, to another name. So I now did as this. So instead of using this as a name, I'll be using this as its name. So I've renamed it. All right. Basically, just basically renaming it. All right. So I can now use it here. Sorry. Then string. Then I'll say true. Okay. See already. So I want to get the path name. Or string or empty string. Why I'm doing this because TypeScript may complain if I leave it out. It may start telling me that it's because it can either be string or null. So I don't want it to have. I just want it to be string so that anytime I using it to be same thing. Okay, it's because of this. Right. Then let's now do try and cache. So let's handle the different requests that we're going to be getting. All right, guys. So I'll try to prevent this. Right? Did we discuss try and catch? Oh,
Sorry, your network switched when you were talking about the path URL, so I didn't quite catch what you were saying about.
sorry. So I was just discuss that I imported this pass URL, this module. I want to use it to to format my the URL when it comes in and get the path name, the path and everything, like this part here, or any path that I'm going to add here. You know, when I start adding things like we have something called query params and path params and the rest. So when we add do things like this, all right, and they are sent to the backend server. They are like URL. They are encoded. All right, they are being encoded. So when they come into the code, when the server picks them up, you need to properly format them to the programming language you are using. In our case, TypeScript. You need to formally pass them, format them to the programming language you're using, so that we can be able to manipulate them, use the data as it is. So if I send request this way now, all right, if I don't pass it, I won't be able to access this search. I won't be able to access this thing here I put here. All right. So if this request comes in, it's going to be weird, like it's going to be formatted as in URL formats. Okay, then when it comes here, I will use this module to format it to standard so that I'll be able to access everything, access the path, access any other thing I want to access in the URL. So that's basically what this thing I did, I imported here, do. Then this thing here, what I did here is that I am renaming the export, the method or the function I imported. I'm renaming it to this, from this to this. So that's
Okay, what
basically
I
what.
would have been, can you maybe try to do a console.log of the past one and the one that is not passed so we can see exactly what our request.url would look like if it's
All
not
right,
passed?
yes, I will do that. Okay, this is even basically what I'm trying to. Okay, wait. I don't know if you've seen URLs that if you look at them, you will be seeing something like 20.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that is it. URL
H126.
encoded. Yes, it's usually
Yeah,
when you have space in the data that's been sent, like something like this now. All right, so this space will be encoded to some characters, and when they come in here,
yeah,
we're going to console log and you will see what I'm saying. But for now, let's just continue. All right, because I can't run the server. The server is not yet ready. So when we finish with the server, I will console log, so then we'll see what actually happened. All right. So here now I've gotten the path, so I want to like check. I want to do a check just like the check I did in the first example. So here I'll do if path name is this, just like what I did the other time. The request dot method, no, method is this. Then I'll do something here. But let me just comment it. Let me just leave it for now. Put to do. Then another if path name is, and the method, okay, let me use post here, then I'll use get here. So they are the same path but different method being called. So then I'll do something here. Then another condition, if path name right. So okay, let me just continue. I will explain all this later. Start with this and request dot method will do something. So guys, okay, let me just pause now and explain something. So we want to like I want to create a CRUD, all right, a CRUD operation, and CRUD is KRUD, C is create, R is read, U is update, then D is delete. All right. So when the request here, what I'm doing here is that when we send a request, to this, yeah, users, right, to this URL, to this part, URL part, and the method I used is post. I'm going to execute something here. All right, that's what I'm doing, and this is basically what I'm trying to say here. If I send a request to, let me remove this, to this, and my method is get, one of the logic we run. If I change this method to post, and I send it to this URL, it's in URL, a method is one of the logics will be executed. All right, so this one will be create, because it post, because whenever you want to send like you want to create something on you want to send data to your server to create a resource on the database and the rest, or you want to send a secured information to your server, you're basically going to use post method to send that request in. Then you can also use put is for updating, put and patch are for updating. All right. I should have discussed this HTTP method with you guys before then, but we'll discuss that when I introduce ExpressJS. So basically, that's what I'm trying to do here. All right. So um, here, if we are sending a post request to this path, is we are going to execute something. We're going to create an entity. We're going to create something on our server. If we are sending to the same URL, but the method is get, we're going to read. This is a read request. Then here now when we want to, this one is to read all the requests, like everything, but this one is to, okay, this put this to update. We want to update a particular information of a user, the particular user. So I'm going to, there's something we're going to attach here, but for now, what I'm trying to say is that here, what this is trying to do is that if I want to update, for example, now if I'm trying to update a user, the URL is going to be this way: users slash the ID of the user, either this. So this is the ID of the user, and this is the path. So the method is going to be put method. Okay. So if I send a request like this here, we try to pick it. We try to check is, pick out this part. If it check if it starts with users, yes, then it will now extract this. We're going to extract this ID, then we'll execute the method at the function, the logic that's supposed to run. Okay, so that's basically what I'm trying to do here. So let me just bring out everything here. Then this one starts. Okay, let me change this to get. Then this one will be almost the same thing. Then if I do this here, and the method is delete, if I want to delete a particular user, then this, so the logic is good. Then at the end of the day, I will send a response. There are a lot of methods we're going to implement. So now we're going to implement methods that will execute here. As another one that will execute here, that we're going to handle each of these requests, right, as they come in. So that's what we're going to do. So let me go down. Now we're going to add a method that's going to accept, when we want to create, if I send a post request, if I want to send a post request here, and I do this is how we send a post request. For example, email, if I want to send a post request, this is how we're going to do it. All right. So if this data is coming in on my server, I need to prepare my server to receive it. All right. So the data is formatted. So when it comes to the server, I need to pass it. Okay. So I'm going to write a method now. That's going to handle the passing of the data body of the information that's coming in. Okay. But when we are using ExpressJS, all these things are handled under the hood for us. We don't need to be writing all this method. Just need to create our route and be implementing our business logic. But here, because this is core Node.js, no framework, we're going to implement all those things here. But before that, let's just start our server here. All right. Since this method is here, then I'll bind, then this. So let's just start the server for now. Call public start. Then okay, this server listen dot port. Okay, so our server can start. Functional. So let's instantiate our server class. Port 5000. Then let me just call it server. So guys, now let me do that console log so that you guys you understand, just like you suggested. It's not what I was trying to discuss. So this is it now. Okay, are you guys here? Are you ready? Are you still with me? So if I call this, let me just put some, let me change this to my get method. Just put now if I send a request, oh sorry, we haven't included our scripts to run dev, sorry. npx ts node dev should run c server.ts. Okay, so npm run dev. So guys, hope you are following. So I'm starting my server now. Okay, server is coming on. Okay, so we are running it now on port 5000. So if I send this request, we're not going to get anything. It's going to continue spinning. But if you check our console here, you can see, right? Hello, you guys can see. So this console, this thing here, yeah, this console log I did here, this is what is appearing. As you can see, this thing I added, search users question mark search equal Christian. See, look at what I was trying to explain to you. So it's this URL is being encoded now because this is what I sent. I added a space between Christian and OKK. All right. So the URL was now encoded into this. All right. So this is what this pass URL now. This is what this pass URL do is that it's remove all this unwanted character and properly format the path so that we can be able to use it in our code. All right, and why this thing is still spinning here, if you look, it does not return any message. Why is that? Is because we have not in this our request handler, I didn't add any, I didn't do something like rest.send or rest.end. All right, I didn't put any of them, so the request is still spinning. There's no response for the request. Okay, so let me stop it on the postman here. It has even stopped on its own. Okay, so guys, let's continue. So let's implement all this to do here because it's going to be very important for us. Then before that, let's add a method to pass. All right, to pass, so that any data we'll send it from here, from the request body, we're going to pick it up from our server. Okay, so let's add the pass method. Okay, and it's going to be private. I'll come down here. Okay, let's put it here. So we are picking up the incoming requests. The type is incoming, and guys, I believe this thing I'm doing here now is kind of new. Resolve, reject, promise find our request, then body. Is array function body. There's error or rejects the promise. So guys, actually this is a very, I don't know if it to be complete, it may be complicated to you, but it's kind of easy. Yeah, it's simple. So what we are trying to do here is that when we receive a request, all right, when we receive a request, we're going to let's leave this promise for now. We're going to, when we receive the request, we're going to trying to check each of the on data. We're going to like the data events of the of this request. All right, the Node.js request. Node.js request has some events on it, because when you send requests, there are some kind of events and data that are sent across with the request, and Node.js, you know, kind of due to its architecture, put everything in events and the rest. So when we receive the data, the incoming request, or then we'll call on this event on event, like, you know, let's say that I showed us about event emitter and the rest. So when the request has event emitter and the on event, we'll try to read information from that of the request, because we believe there's data in it. And the requests, the data that are coming, we don't know the size, whether it's bulky or small. So to be safe, the Node.js implemented that you're going to read it, it's going to read it chunk by chunk, you know, little by little. And if you see here, this is a method, this is a, sorry, this thing here is a function, arrow function. So you give it a function when you call this request, when you call this on data event on the request method, you know, you're going to give it a function that actually reads data chunk by chunk. And when we are reading it, we are adding the data to this our variable here that we created, this body variable. Then at the end of everything, when the end event has been called, as the request has ended, we're going to take the whatever we read and resolve this promise. All right. So what this promise does is that it's an async process, because this process is going to take it's assumed to take time, because of it's a network request and we don't know the amount of data that are coming in. So we're going to put it in a promise. All right, you know, when you put something here in a promise, it's not going to be executed on the stack directly, because so that it's not going to block the main stack in execution. It's going to be sent to the promise. So this particular request will be sent to the queue, rather, right, to be put in the queue and executed. So when everything is done, if everything goes well, it will be resolved with the data. We're going to, the data that we receive here, which is a string, it's going to be passed into object. Then when we pass it, it's going to, well, this resolve means that everything is successful. So it's going to return the data that we pass into the resolve, this body. But in case something bad happens, maybe an error occurs, we're going to reject the promise. So it means that we're going to throw an error with the error message. So basically that's what this pass body do here. So I'm going to it's just a method here. I'm going to leave it for now. Then I will look for another method to implement. Now let's implement a method that will send out response. I'll be responsible for sending, like we want to send a JSON response. JSON, let me make it capital. Guys, we should not this thing is how Node.js. This is basically using Node.js to create your server, but when we use Express, everything will just be simple. We don't need this bulk code, typing of code. So here, basically, what we wrote in our first example is what we're going to implement here. Right head. Going to take status code. So it's going to take status code and the content type, application JSON. So guys, then let's end the request. Stringify our data that has been sent. So this is what's, so here we'll come here and we'll call this method here. Okay. So here we'll just see res I'm going to call here is for error not found. Yeah. Make it small. Let me check. Hello guys. Alright, hope you're following through. If you have any question, please let me know. Alright, so I've implemented this, so let's implement every method. The method that we handle this first create to create the user. Alright, so I come down here. It's going to be private. Make it async, create user. It's going to take requests and income. The request type is incoming. The response server response. So basically what I want to do now, I want to implement methods that are functions that I'm going to call when all these things, when any of these paths are being, the request is being sent to any of these paths. So this one will be for create. This create will be for this one, because we're trying to, when we call this path, we're trying to create user. We're going to send it our email, the user email and the name, all right, that we want to create. So to do that, put try and cache it. Try and cache is actually the error handler. Then await. Now I'm calling this. Now this method is this method I implemented here. So I'm using this method now to extract the data that is being sent in the body request of the body of the request that are coming in. So when I've gotten it, I will check if actually the information that I'm looking for exists by looking for name, checking for name, or here what I'm doing now, usually if this I'm checking is this not present, or is the name not present, or email not present. So I want the two of them to be present. That's why I'm doing this search. Is the name not present, or is the email not present in the request that is coming in, the body of the request that is coming in? Now this request, this body here, this name and email here is going to be from here, like as here, as I put it here, not here. It's not coming in this path URL. This is the body of the request. Remember, when you're sending with Postman, this is the body, like as you see here. This is body and raw JSON. Okay, so I'm sending it as body. Why this here, this place here is the query param, right? This thing here is the query param. Okay, why this user here, this slash users, is the path param of the URL, of the request URL that's coming in. Okay, so why this one is the query param. Query param is anything that occurs after this question mark in the URL. Anything that occurs after this question mark from here upward is called the query parameter. Okay, and it's optional. And when your URL, when you're coding your server, is going to be optional. So here I'm checking if this name is here, is not here, or email is not here. If any of them is not there, we're going to send this to the server. I'm going to use this method that I defined here. This method here, I'm going to send a message to it, res 400. 400 means the status code is bad request. I'm going to drop the error message here. The error is that name and email are required. All right, so this is it. Let's test this particular method now, although I'm not finished with it, but let's just test it and see. If I do this, if I call it here and give it request, okay guys, if you need my attention, call me please, so that I will respond to request. That's response. So this is it. Let's test it. Okay, our server is running. If I test, let me change it. Let me rename it. Create user. So I will rename it on Postman. If I send a request, okay, no, let me cancel it. I'm supposed to. If I remove the name, for example, and I send a request, you see I got this 400, and the error message, name and email are required, because I didn't send name alongside with it. So it's in my logic here, in the implemented logic for create user that I'm calling on that particular path URL. So I check, is name not there or email not there? So name was not there, but email was there. So because name was not there, it's ran, this code ran, and I send out this message. So our method is working fine. So let's finish the implementation. So if everything is sent, if name and email is there, what do? So we need to add new user, create a new user, and add it to our user array that we need to add it here. Sorry, let me come up show you. We need to add it to this array, this users array here. We need to add it. So when I come down here, I will do ID. How do we create? Just manipulate ID, then name, because this user takes is an interface for ID. It has ID, property, name, and email. So you need to create them accordingly. So this email will be from the body dot name. The name will be from body dot name. Sorry, I'm getting an error. This will be body dot email. Then what do I do next? We need to push, just like as we discussed in our data types class. Then I have added it to this user now, to the user array. Then I'll need to send a message. Let me not use return here. Then I need to let the user know that yes, it was created successfully. And okay, then I'll send the information of the user, of the created user. But if there's an error here, I'm going to send error message here. Saying 400 something happened. Invalid JSON. Yeah, maybe, yeah, when you didn't send proper format. So guys, this create user request is handle is ready. So if I still call, I'll get the same error message. But if I do this, you see it's created successfully. All right, I got this message. Right, this is the user the success message that it was created successfully. This message here. So let's create for read, to read all the users, so that when we create, we'll be able to read and see that yes, our request was successful. So we're going to create a method, I'll call it under this here, async gets all users. So take a response, because we are not we are reading, we are not actually receiving any information from the request. So going to be response 200, then users. So if I come here, okay guys, so let's do something here now. So let me remove this ones. So I'm going to create another endpoint. Let me duplicate this. I call this, I'll change the method. Okay, let me use variables for this collection. So what? What's wrong? Unlock that. Hello guys. Wow. Wow, I didn't know my network got disconnected. Oh my god. How long was I gone? Sorry guys, how long was I gone? Hello. Hello. Let me pause for now. So having implemented the create user method and the get all users method, now let's test. Hope I'm still connected. Okay. So I created a variable for this. Let me this to read. Change it. Get all users. So it is to get all users. Why this is to create a user. So if I create, let me create this user here. Oh, our server is not running. Okay, it's running now. Okay, put the base URL. So this base URL is basically this HTTP localhost 5000. So I just replaced it. So if I save it and send, let's send. Okay, it has been created. All right, you received 201 status code. So if I call this method, this endpoint now to get all users, you see, yeah, it has returned this user I created. Okay, if I create another user here, let's say I use create John Doe email, then the name is John Doe. If I create this for this user, yeah, it's created. ID is now 2. If I check, if I call, see it's see it chose it. Let me bring this up. So see the 2 users that I created. If I create another user, let's say Rita Doe. If I send this request, yeah, ID 3, new user with ID 3. If I call the URL again, see it has, this is the third, it has added. So it has added the third user. So our server is working accordingly, right? So let's what if we want to edit a user? Maybe we want to change a name, a user's name to something, or want to get information for a particular user. Let's try to get information for a particular user, and this is the endpoint that handles that. This one, it's the endpoint, it gets information for a particular user. So let's write the method to handle that particular request. So if I come down here, I will do private async get user. All right, get user, not all user. Then so this my request, this my method is going to take how many parameters. Okay, let me give it incoming message. All right, then I'm going to do give it this, then path name going to be string. Let's give it path name. Then first we need to, because it's for a particular user, we need to extract the ID from the path name. Need to extract the ID from the path name. So we're going to split it. It's a string, so we're going to split it with using a checking, because when the request comes in, it's like this. All right, comes like this, users. All right, and the ID. All right. So I want to slash it. I'll slash it. I will split it by /. All right. So it's going to return when I split it. It's going to return array. All right. So it's going to here now. If I perform this operation, it's going to return. It's going to return something. This kind of array. It's going to be users. Then 1, 2, 3. Right. It's going to return something like this. So I need this array now. This is index 0. In this array, this is index 0, this is index 1. So I need this index 1 here, the one in the 1, 2, 3 value, because that's the ID I'm looking for. I need. Then so it's going to come with, it's going to come like extra like this. So I'll take this 0, 1, 2, take the 2. Then this thing types is complaining, so it's going to be put it here so that it will not complain, because so assume that what if it is not there, what are you going to do? So once that is done, let's check for the user from our users array. They need to find using the ID. So use the find method of the array, because so we are looping through. When you give find method of the array is that you check if that particular, for where you're looking for, exists, whatever may the condition, all right, of what of your function here. So here I'm checking each of this user in, let me just each user in this array, their ID. I'm checking their ID if the ID will be equal to this ID I'm looking for here. So anyone that makes the first user that makes this condition, it will bring it out for me. Then I'll do check. I'll do this check here. I will now check if the user was actually found, like this value is not null, this user value is not null. If it is not null, I would use this to return my message. For 200 and the user. But if it is not found, I will send message also, but I will use the same method. This method is used for sending my messages. All right, 400 or 404 not found. User not found. So guys, this is implemented. I will come here. Let's add it to the path it works with. So this is it here. Return so it's going to take request, response, the path, the path name. So guys, let's test out this method again. Now guys, because we are now storing our this the users we are creating on any database or any database, yeah. So when we restart our server, when when our server is restarted, like if I make changes, if I save, the server restarts, because that's what this module I'm using here to run the server, this here's node. Anytime you make changes, it restarts the server. All right, when you make changes to your code, it restarts the server. So because we are storing the server as private, as a variable in the class, in the class, so anytime we restart our server, all the users we created will be lost. So if I get users now, it will be empty array. Yeah, as you can see, empty array, nothing, because the server has restarted, so all those information is lost. So I will add another request to get a user, particular user. Hope this recording is still on. All right, so this one will be, I'll put any user I want to look for here, the ID. So the name will be get user. That's get user. Get user. It still get request. Save it. So if I come back here now, let's create users. If I start with Rita, ID1 has been created. If I create for John Doe, if I create for John Doe has been created. So if I come here and get all users, see, I'm getting everything. Then if I want to get for a particular user, the two users we have here is ID1 and ID2, their IDs. So if I check for ID1, which is Rita, we're going to get, see, we got Rita Doe. And if I check for number 2, ID2, which is John Doe, I'm going to get John Doe, right? So if I check for the user that's not here, that's not in the array, I'm going to get user not found, which is 404. All right, so let's create the endpoint to update the user. Okay, this one to update, and it's a put method, right, to update a particular user. So let's work on that update user method. So if I come down here, right, async update user. So our update user is going to take request, which is the incoming message type, response, which is the server response, then path, because we need, while we always send the path, we need to get the ID. All right, then okay, so put in the try catch method, we need to know why. Then we need to catch the error. Then we need to pass this method is native to NodeJS, like right, so we don't need to install any package to use it. So we need to just to pass the method now to convert strings to numbers. So just the same thing we did here, we did for get user. Just come here and copy it, because it's just basically the same thing. This, so then because when you want to update a user, you also be sending you'll be sending data that you want to update. Let's say you want to change the name, so you want to change the name of the user. Let me come to Postman and demonstrate and show you guys. So if you come here, let me add a new request. So this will be update user, and the method is put. That's what our server is accepting. Let me use this one. Let me change it back. All right, so if I want to update user 2, for example, all right, I'm going to send information Right, what I want to change. If it is the name I want to change, I'm going to include it in the request. Alright, so John Doe will Joseph Doe, for example. I've not implemented the code yet. I'm just demonstrating how the request will look like. So this is how I will prepare the request and send. So when I send it here, I will need to my code, the code logic that we handle this request. We get get the ID of the user from the URL here. All right, that's why from the path name that we're going to handle. Then it's also going to get this one from the request body. All right, this name that we want to update. All right, the new value. We need to get it from the request body. So when I check here now, okay, so this I've gotten the ID, the ID from the path. Right, so I've gotten it. Then I need to get from the body. I need to get the name or whatever that has been sent alongside with the request. So I will use this. I will use my method. This method is defined here. This pass body to extract that information. So this pass body, I will give a request. Then once I've gotten that, now I will now need to fetch the user. No, look for the user. This is the method I will use. Use this one to get the user from the array. And once I've gotten the particular user, I'll now have to update the user. All right. So, but before I do that, I will have to check is the user exist? Like, is this value actually not null, like not undefined? I'll need to check to know if the user is found or not. So before I update, so if the user is not found, this method says if the user is not found, so I need to send a message that's okay, I didn't find this user, user not found. So this is basically what I did here. It's just the same thing here. All right, but this I use the different method, right, to this ternary method to check if the user is there. Then if the user is there, like the user is found, I will now check what was sent from the server. Is it the body, is it the name or the email? That what is this request trying to change, what trying to update, what is the user trying to update? Is it the name or the email? Because you can send the name or you can send the email here. So I will do check is it name that I sent. If it is name, okay, sorry, I didn't await this. Good. So this body user dot, if it's name, sorry, we will update it user dot name equal to body dot name. All right. If it is, if we want to, the request want to also update the email of the user, we update. All right. Then when we have updated, we have not saved it back to our array. Okay, we have not saved it back to our array yet. Okay, so okay. Hello. Then if there's any error, we'll send in the cache method invalid JSON format. So let's test that and see what we got. Let's put it the define method inside yes, inside here, inside this handler. Requests, we pass response and path name. Okay, so I think we need to, okay, let's test it first. Our server has restarted, so we need to create, let's say I create this user. Okay, if I get all user, it will just be one. Then to get, let's check, let's get that particular user. Okay, then let's try to update that user. The user's name is what? John Doe. Let's try and see. Okay, the name. Let's update the email and the name. Joseph Doe, for example. Let's see. Oh, I think there's a bug here. There's a bug here. Yeah, this is supposed to be email. Okay. So let's retest again one more time because our data has cleared. If I try to get this one now, 404. Okay, so let's create one more time. John Doe, yes. If we get all users, it will be the same John Doe. Get a particular user, see John Doe. Then let's update the name and the email. Okay, the name is now Joseph Doe, John Doe. Let's see if it is updated from here. Let's see if this John Doe will be changed to Joseph Doe. See, it's now Joseph Doe, right? So if we come here and get all the users, this John Doe also now still be changed to Joseph Doe, right? So good. So what's remaining is the deletes, guys. I still have like one hour more, right? So let's call the deletes. Let's create the deletes. Do anybody have any question, guys? If you have any question, you let me know. Okay, so I want to implement the last method to delete. So we're going to, the method is going to be here. Is the method that we're going to use here. Here, this last part here, delete. So if I come here, let's delete the method. Let's create the method. So delete user. So it will take response and the path name. because the partner we need the ID, so we need to get the ID also. So to get the ID, we'll come here, collect this. Okay, I don't want to repeat myself. Okay, so we need to get the index, like the index of that user in our array, in our array database. Use this method, find index. So this will give us the index of the particular user. So if we need to check if that user is actually there, if the user is not in our system, if the user is not in our array of users, that means this index will be -1. This find index will return -1. So it means it's not there. So if it's not there, we send this message that this user is not CL. User not found. User not found. So but if the user is there, so we need to delete the user. So how do we need to check our database and splice out the particular user. Okay, splice method is going to take index 1. So we use this method to splice out the index, the user, the particular index, and just one. We need one of it. So then it will separate the arrays into two. Then the one the one at this place, the first index is the one we're looking, is the deleted user that I want to delete. So when this is done, send the message that yes, these are deleted. Then we need to oh my god, let me pause. Our CRUD operation is now ready. So this is Node.js core. We are not using any framework. We are not using any framework to write our Node.js, to write our API. This is purely Node.js. All right. No Express, no Nest.js. This is just purely Node.js. Running your code for you, running your server for you. So we can create a user who can update a user, who can read a user, can delete a user. All right. Let's do final demonstration. Then we move to Express. But I would like to, I don't know, guys. Should we go? Let's go on a break. All right. Let's go on a break. In 15 minutes time, we'll come back. Then when we're coming back, it's almost time for our closing. But when we come back, we introduce ExpressJS to us, right? I will introduce ExpressJS to us. Just we'll discuss on everything. But before that, let me just demonstrate this. Then we'll go for a breather. Then just 15 minutes to come back. Then we'll introduce ExpressJS to us. So I want to create user first. I'll create user. It's created. Let me create another one. Okay, I've created another user. If I come here to get all users, okay, these are the two users I created. If I want to get a particular user, let's say I want to get user 2, which is the second user I created, Christian. Okay, is going to be here. Okay, good. Then let's say I want to update a user. Let's update my the second user. Let's say uh, let's do Chris. Okay, if I update it now, you see I've updated my email and the name. If I come back here to check it to confirm if actually, oh, I updated user 1, sorry. So if I, which is if we check here, the user 1 is John Doe. User 1 is John Doe. So I've updated John Doe to this, to Christian this. So if I get that user now, which is user 1, because this user 2 is still unchanged, user ID 2 is still unchanged, didn't change. So if I try to get the user 1, which I changed accidentally to, right? So, okay, so this is it changed to this. Then if I want to delete, let's delete this same user 1. So if I let's try check again, confirm, get all users. So this is user 1 now. If I, or let me delete user 2. If I, if I try to delete user 2, let's see. Oh, sorry. Let me see the route I use. Delete users, delete method. It's supposed to be delete users. Same path not as is. Why am I getting that path not as is error? Oh, 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 oh. It's supposed to be delete. Sorry guys. It's supposed to be delete method. So if I call it now, yeah, I've deleted user 2. Let's see if we still have user 2. Let's see. Okay, user 2 is gone, so we only have one user now. So our CRUD operation is complete, guys. In the next, let's say by 3:15, let's be back by 3:15. Let's be back by 3:15, guys. So that will just introduce us to Express. Probably we'll just do 1 or 2 on ExpressJS, then we call it a day. Then next week we'll introduce our project to us. We'll start building our project from next week. Alright guys, let's relax. If you're here, start recording. So guys, welcome back. If you are here, please give me a thumbs up. I'm sharing my screen right now. So let's build this project that we just finished. Oh, since nobody's here. Okay, welcome back. So guys, I was saying let's build this project this particular app that we just finished. let's build it to JavaScript so that you understand what I meant by we'll have the directory. So because when you're deploying to when you want to deploy your application to the cloud, to the internet, you don't deploy TypeScript. All right, TypeScript, the servers don't run TypeScript, they run Node.js and JavaScript. So to build this, you simply do, I'll put a command here, because when you want to build also, you use a command. You just call it build, and simple, it's very simple. Just call npx tsc. For this project, it's very simple. Just call npx tsc. Tsc is the TypeScript compiler. tsc, TypeScript compiler, right? So npx, like I explained yesterday, npx is that we are trying to call the binary from our installed package from our project. So tsc is the compiler. So if I want to build now, I'll just run npm command that will run this build. So to do that, I'll just do npm run build. So now, guys, pay attention. Hope you can see my screen. Okay, so pay attention here. In our TypeScript config file, we said our output directory, that's out there, dir, will be dist. So when we build our code, when we build this project, we're going to see an extra directory here adjacent to this src, which is going to be this folder. So if I run this command now, so this command is this. I am running npm run build. This is the command I'm running, npm run build. I'm telling npm to run this build command, which this build command is going to execute this particular command. So I can actually run it directly npx tsc. I can run it directly, it will compile, no problem with that. Okay, so it's optional what you want to do, and it's based on what you want. So if I execute this, so it's compile it. Yeah, it's done compiling. So if you look now, this is it. This is the extra. This is the disk folder. So this is our app here. This is our app. So if you have a look at it, if you have a look, you see some of the things we wrote and some extra things that TypeScript adds. Some of all these things on the rest. So now let me run this JS. This is our server here. Let me run it. This server.js. This server.ts here is the counterpart is server.js. So if I run it, let me run it from here also. So if I put a command called stats will be, now I will use Node directly to run. It will be this server.js. So I am using Node particular now, Node proper, to run this server.js file that is inside this dist directory. So if I do that, if I do npm run stats, it's going to see our server has started immediately running on ports. So if we do all this, try to execute all these things we did the other time, it's going to work. It has created it. So it's now our JavaScript server now that is running. Okay, not our TypeScript. It's now our JavaScript that is running. Right, so that is that. So let me terminate the process. Alright guys, so I was thinking maybe I should integrate database to this particular one, but before I do that, to this particular server, this Node.js, just integrate database configuration, MySQL database. Alright, so that you guys will know how it's being done. But before I do that, shouldn't have edited this. No problem. From here. Right, build. So guys, let's introduce ourselves to ExpressJS. Guys, can you see my screen? Please let me know if you can see my screen. Give me thumbs up if you can still see my screen. Okay, okay, great. So ExpressJS. So what is ExpressJS? ExpressJS is minimal and is a minimal and flexible Node.js web framework used to build APIs and web servers. Right. Um, Key features with on the ExpressJS. The key features is that it's lightweight and fast. One of them is also it's opinionated. All right. The is middleware based. It has middleware based architecture. We're going to see that when we start working on it. Easy routing system. We're going to also see it also. Supports RESTful APIs. All right, the normal way. Integrate easily with databases. Right. So these features are true with ExpressJS. ExpressJS is so simple and sweet that when you start using it, you love it. Okay, just so simple and sweet. So the advantages why use it, it simplifies Node.js server creation. Okay, so most of these things that we did here in this using Node.js to create our endpoint and everything. If it is Express, it's very straightforward, just very straightforward when you use Express to implement those things we did. So handles routing and requests efficiently, yes. Supports middleware for log, yeah. Large community ecosystem, of course. When it comes to Node.js ecosystem, it's ExpressJS that's for like the first known. Like no, I don't think any senior Node.js developer doesn't know ExpressJS, right? So and before you, why I even brought it into this project was that into this course was that uh, I know Next.js is a big thing now. People are going into it, but you need to start from like know the ones that are built on, like know the things that these frameworks are building on top. Like Next.js, they have plugins. They built on top of ExpressJS. Next.js built on top of ExpressJS, right? So we need to understand Express before we now start going into Next.js and the rest. So that's why I decided to let's do Express Next.js. I mean ExpressJS, sorry. So Express, when you want to set up your ExpressJS, and I always recommend that you when anytime you're writing Node.js code, you use TypeScript. So in our project, we're going to use Express and TypeScript setup. So when you want to the installation command, you install Express the normal way. It's a package, production package. Yeah, it's not a dependency package. So but the other ones, TypeScript, TS Node, Types Node, and the rest, you need it's their dev dependent packages. And when you are installing your Express, you also install the types. Why it's so is that Express was created before TypeScript. To tell you how old Express has been, it was created before TypeScript, so it was not written with TypeScript. It was written with normal JavaScript. So they had to create separate TypeScript types for it. All right. So and this is your TS config where you want to start using TypeScript. Start working with ExpressJS. It's just basically the same thing we have now. To create a server, is very easy with Express. You just import your Express, you create the app, you give it the port, and you run it. This is your route. This is how you start your server. App.listing, just the way we did in our Node.js here, in our code here. To start our server, we use the server.listing. Also the same Express mix the same method, right? Express just makes the same method. Then this is the routing, how the routing is done. Very easy and swift. Then the middleware architecture. Now, middleware functions are executed during the request response cycle. So, like in the introduction, it says Express is a middleware based. It has middleware based architecture. So in the sense that when when you send request, as request is going to be executed by the server to that will that we generate a response for that particular request. There's what they call middleware. Just as the name, denotes, middle. It's something that executes in the middle between the request and the response. It executes in between the middle. And how do you use a middle? How do you specify a middleware in Express? You just use you express you um use this app.use. App.use indicates that it's a middleware that you want to use. All right. So this is a custom middleware. When you're building a custom a middleware function in Express, you give your functions 3 parameters. Okay, the request, response, and next. Okay, you give it these 3 things. So Express will know that this is a middleware and it executes. So when you execute, you must call this next function here when you finish executing your middleware, because next function means that you are giving back, you are okay after executing, your middleware is running in the middle between the request to the response cycle. So if your middleware is executing at the middle, after executing, you need to tell Express to continue the request, to continue, to go back to continue the request to the next thing. So you call next to continue. If you don't call next, your middleware will break that particular request. All right, that's a circle. So this is there. We have some inbuilt middleware that we're going to use also. So don't worry, we're going to see all this. Then this is how routing is done in Express. Use app.get. If it's a post, you use post app.post. It's very easy, straightforward. You don't need any. Then you give it a function. The function also middleware function, request handler. I call it request handler here. Then here you can insert middleware in between this particular routing. That we're going to do all that when we start building our project. So this is how we specify that. Then this is post request. Then sorry. So this is the supported HTTP method in Express. We have the get request that reads data. We have the post that creates data. We have the put or patch that updates data. Then we have the delete HTTP methods. All right. So then route and query params. All right. So we have path params or route params, which are these. Like this ID here is a path or route param. So when we want to access it, it's very easy in Express. You just access it this way. The name you give it here is what you're going to access here. All right. Then your code, your request, you add it your request when you're making your query. Then we have the query params, the optional query params, and you just use the request.query. Here you use a request.params dot the name you use in your code here. Then also here request.query for the query params, search them here, what they are sending across. Then error handling. Express has special kind of Express has middlewares that handles the error. So if you are creating a middleware for Express and you give it four parameters. All right, give it 4 parameters. Express will automatically treat that middleware as error handler. Okay, it's going to treat it as error handler because it's going to assume that the first parameter, and that's your middleware, is the error. All right, then the others follows as it is. All right, but if you use 3 parameters, then it will know that it's a proper middleware. But if you use 4 parameters, it's going to be Express will treat it as an error middleware, error handler middleware. So when you do that, we usually use this to handle, or if the request at the end, like maybe a particular request, escape all routes and escape everything in the whole circle. It will come to the last middleware, the last error handler. That's where it will be handled. The error handler middleware will handle it. Okay, we're going to see all these things in actions. All right, so now there's what we call a router in Express. Is the same thing with routing. It's the same thing with routing. Here is direct routing. You are doing direct routing here, but here is we have a router separately, a separate class for routing. Then what it does is that we can separate our routing into different directories or modules, so that we'll be able to structure our code. So what does it do? We import it to create a router object from it. Then we start um, issuing routes and middle and error route handlers to all the routes that we want. For example, this one here, after creating the route, then I will now use the middleware, the router middleware, to issue the particular route. So here now, what this actually means is that for this router here, this router here, we handle everything regarding to users. Anything you're sending with /users is going to be handled by this particular router. We're going to see all these things in action when we start our practice. Then also you can use Express to serve static files. Static files are like HTMLs, CSS, and images, and the rest documents that you want to serve to the client. All right, you can use Express to do that, and you just use this express.static, and you define the directory where you're going to put all those files, all those static files. So here we are define we tell we are we define we give the directory a public. So it means that we are going to create the public directory in our app, and in that public directory we have all the any static file that I want to serve. So if we put image in there inside this public directory, for example, if we put logo.png inside this, we're going to be able to access it via this URL. So when we access something like this, it's going to give us serve us the static file. So I want you guys to know this. We're going to see this in action. All right. So basically that is that. So we still have time. So guys, I want us to I want to get your opinion now. Do I integrate database into this, or do I go straight to example on Express? Like this user something, do I integrate database instead of using array? I'll just integrate MySQL here, right? Guys, I just need your opinion so
All
that we
right.
know.
Sorry, excuse
You
me.
should do the integration.
We should just go straight to
When we get
Express.
to Express,
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think we should go straight to Express. Then we can do the database integration from there.
Okay, good. All right, all right. So let's have a look. Okay, let's do Express. All right, we're going to open on a new. We're going to open a new directory, new project.
And again, Christian, I want to beg you
Yeah.
or something, please. So I think your pace, I think it's too fast.
Okay.
Um, and very difficult to code along.
Oh.
So that's just
I'm looking at time, and it's like this 3 hours is because I was
sorry.
like,
You said what?
okay, I said I'm considering the time. Like the steps I am trying to take us through, it's like the time is not even enough for me, but I'll try to ease off to slow down, but I will push.
Because another thing is at the end, it is how well we can comprehend is more
Exactly,
important than what we cover.
exactly, you are correct. Okay, so I think I will slow down on that. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, so I have to close this now. So let me open up this one, the directory. Okay, guys, so let's start. The same process. We are starting a new npm package project. So the same process like we did before. So we're going to start with npm init, right? Then I'll put hyphen y. So if I do that, npm init hyphen y. All right, our package.json has been created. So I have everything here. I don't want to. Let me just change this to server.js. Well, it doesn't really matter here for now. So I need to install TypeScript. Okay, so npm I hyphen capital D TypeScript. All right. Hope you guys are following along. Then types for node.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Then that's other this package node dev. Then let me leave this for now first. So if I click enter to install everything, okay guys, if you're not familiar with GitHub, please come to GitHub. You need to come to GitHub, github.com. While this thing is installing.
Again, I think the numbers that we have on this call is relatively small, so I think we should just confirm instead of us spending so much time on GitHub. If there's anyone that does not know GitHub yet, I think we should just confirm instead of spending so much time learning GitHub.
No, no, I don't even want
So,
to.
is there anyone on this call that does not know GitHub?
If you're not familiar with GitHub, you can just do thumbs up so that we know. But I just want us to, if you're not familiar, just come and register an account first. That's what I wanted to say. Just come and register an account. I'm not I don't intend to cover it because there won't be enough time. There's no time much for today. So I don't know if my network is slow. Alright, we are good. So now let's install TypeScript Express. npm I Express. Just like that. Okay, so now we are going to use MySQL in this example. We're going to integrate MySQL. Sorry. Then to do that, we need a package, MySQL 2. All right, this npm package. We need this MySQL package for our integration with data to integrate our server with the MySQL database. So this is install npm I MySQL 2. There's MySQL 1, but you need MySQL 2. Then we need to install course, but this course is for when you're from when you it's browser is related to browser. So but since we will just be demonstrating with Postman, we don't really need it, but let's just add it there. So then I click enter. Hope you guys saw the command, right? Okay, so if you check now, we now have all our dependencies. We have the Express dependent package, the MySQL package, then the cause package, then we have this other dev dependency packages. So we are good to go. So let's instantiate um, our TypeScript. Do nps npx tsc hyphen hyphen init. Now we now have our ts config. So we can now come into our ts config and set up our configuration. Then I will uncomment the root directory, uncomment the out directory. Then this one I will comment it out, then uncomment this and this. Just the same setup that I shared in the chat. Then come here and uncomment this. Then I will now I can add this anywhere. Interoperational module interoperational to be true. Then when we do this, we are set. So now create our src folder, src. Then when we create the src folder, we are good to go. So let's start writing our server. So I'll create in my src directory, create server.ts. Then we'll start our code. So these are the things we're going to do now. Since our code is class based, right? You're going to create database class because we want to integrate database service too. We'll create HTTP class. All these things is just to modularize our code. It's almost the same thing. Almost the same thing we're going to do. All right. So now let's start by importing our packages that we'll need. So import Express. Then we import the typings. Let me do from Express. Can you find my oh sorry, I forgot. Let's add our include. Don't forget the formats. Then let's add our exclude, which is node module, and this we have it. Okay, it's not seen. Let me run. Okay. Okay, so let's install, guys. Let's install type save. Okay, yeah, types for Node Express. Let's install this. That's why I'm getting this error here. I've been looking why it's not. Express is installed, but it's telling me that cannot find a definition, but it gives the hint that I should install this. So I forgot to install it. So let's install the types definition for Express. Like I told you, Express is not written in TypeScript. It's written in JavaScript. So when you install it into a TypeScript project, you need to install the types. This package here is where all the types are defined in the Express package. So as you can see, this error is gone now. So let's start our code. So first, let's create the user interface. Okay, the user interface that we are working on, we're going to be creating now number. Now we make this optional because our ID, the ID for the user is going to be created on the database. All right, it's not the user going to be created on the like not our app is not going to create it, so it's going to be on the database. So we have to make it optional. The name will be string. Yeah. Email. String 2. So guys, hope you understand this concept of making this ID optional, because any information you're creating on your database, yeah, like if your created ads, your updated ads, your deleted ads entities, like you want to keep track of all those dates that your entities are created, but then you don't those kind of properties are not something you'll be creating in your server. You allow your database to be populating those columns on your model by themselves. So why you are doing that, why that is being done, you have to make TypeScript understand that okay, these things are not, if I want to create my entities or my models, I'm not adding them to you, or like I'm not the one creating it on the server. So you have to make it optional, like I am creating, they will be created later in the database. All right, so like if I have something like created as dates here, I'll have to make it optional because I won't be creating it in the database here. So let's continue. Then I will need another interface. I'll call it API response. It's going to be generic. So I want all my response to the client, all my response that the server is going to be giving to be uniform. That's why I'm defining this response interface so that they will follow through. Okay, so let's create our DTOs. DTOs are like where like it checks the information how it's coming, your request. So I don't know if like it's just like a validator to the requests that are coming in. Just like in that our example that I showed you that we are sending, that's our CRUD example. We didn't validate the input data that are coming. We just that when they come into when the server receives them, it tries to, we use our logic, the logic, business logic, to validate if they are actually there. But that's not the proper way to create REST APIs. You need something details to check even before the request comes into this gets received by the handler, the request handler. It needs to be properly, like some things that needs to be checked on that circle. So let's create an interface that will help us do that. Okay, create user. All right, and we need to extend, like I told you, interfaces can extend, right? They can extend classes, they can extend follow interface, and classes can extend interface, just like I showed you guys in the example. Okay, so with this now, let me define for the request. I will be expecting it to come with body, and we'll have name, which is going to be this, and email. Okay, so this is it. In our project, we are going to do things slightly different. We are going to it's going to be properly structured project. So this is, let's just follow through with this, and we will get to understand it proper when we start our project. Update user request. Guys, hope you are following through. If I'm too fast, please still let me know. Let me reduce my speed. So this is the updates for update request. Okay. Okay, so we have created our, we'll call this, basically I'll just call this DTU. Let me just rename it, remove the request. So let's create our database class, database service class. Database. So this class will help us to interact, connect our database, help us create users on our database, help us retrieve users. So I'm supposed to explain SQL queries to us, but I will explain that why we are doing, why we are coding along, right? Supposed to have pool. Now let's import MySQL to do auto import for me. Let's come here and import MySQL. Using the pool. So I'll add a constructor. So this constructor, I will initialize the pool here. Using the create pool method. Alright, so this pool private member of the database service, I want to initialize it in the constructor. And how do we initialize? I will use this create pool. Alright, we have in MySQL, we have two connectors to the database. The two let me call them methods that connect to the database. We have the pool connection, we have the proper normal connection. So it's always advised that you use the pool connection, because pool is a collection of connections, like it has many connections. Why is connection is just single connection. So when you are building your application, is I advise that you use pool because MySQL will help you to manage the connections that are inside the pool. So you don't have to be managing it by yourself. You don't have to be managing it in your app. MySQL will do that for you. Okay, so now let's connect. How do we connect? To connect our server, we need the host, our database server. Sorry, we need the host. Like the host is where the URL of the cloud server where the database is hosted. Hope I'm still connected. Still recording. All right, okay, I'm still recording. So we need the host. We need the user because you need a user account. You need a user access to connect to the database. It's for authentication. All right, so that your database is secure. It's database security. Then we need the password for the user for the database to authenticate that access. Then when that is done, then you need the name of the database you want to connect, like the name of the schema. All right, so these things are paramount. So let's start with the first one, the host. Because our database is on our machine locally, so we're going to use the host, local host. Then the user that we're going to use, I will just use root. Password, I think I will look for the password of my database, local database. Then the database itself, I will give it a name, node demo. I have not created it yet, so all right, so I think we are good on these items now, just for me to provide them. All right, so let's add some other properties. Wait for connections true. So this turns up database to for this package to wait for connection whenever we want to connect. Connection limits should be 10. Then a queue limit, let's use 0. Don't want to queue connections. All right, so this is it. So we need to create, if we want to create user on our database, we need to create a method for it called create user. So this method, we will have to give it a query to help us create user on our database. Then we need to also get all users. This is just basically the same methods we implemented in our example that's our CRUD example. Same methods. Then we have get user, get a user by ID. All right. Then we need to implement update user. Then also the one you must have guessed this delete user. All right, so we need to implement these methods one after the other. So let's do that. It's going to be, the methods are going to be async. Okay, do this. Now it's going to return promise. Async processes, any async methods should return promise. All right, so this our create user is going to take name of the user we want to create. My system is becoming slow. It's now lagging. Yeah, and the email. So then I'll now do this. Now in MySQL, let's go to documentation. Let's use W3 school. Guys, we are familiar with MySQL, right? Now to go to SQL. Let me MySQL proper. Oh, look at my screen here. So to create a user, we use this query insert. So MySQL uses a SQL language to interact with the database. So if you want to insert, you want to put something into your data, into your database, you use this command. So like, um, let me open one example of table here. Yes, guys, this is an example of a table, users table that we're going to be working with, right? So this is how the table looks like. We have the ID column, we have the name column, we have email column, right? So these are the columns that we have on this table. If you want to insert something here, although I haven't shown us the query to create tables like this, okay, we're going to do that. But if we want to put columns, we want to put data into this table, we're going to do that with this command here. We're going to say insert. Insert is the keyword, is a MySQL keyword into table name. All right, that's the table name that we want to put the data into, because every MySQL table database has various tables that stores, they stores the data. So here, this node, our table is this. Our the table name is users, right? On this database that I'm showing you, the table name is user. So say user here, then the column that you want to put data into. We want to put data into the name and email column. All right, so we'll name it here. Shall be users. Then we want to put into the email and the name column. Let me remove this extra information. So this is it. I've named them. So what do I want to put inside? What are the values I want to put? So accordingly, in the same order, first is the email, the next one is the name. I'm going to put the values also here. So insert into users, open bracket, email, comma, name, close bracket, then values is keyword. Values is telling MySQL that these are the values I want to put. Then I'll put the value here, the email value here, and the name value. Then let me remove these other extra things. So when you do this is the proper query that you use to insert, create, put data into your MySQL database. So that being said, let me put it inside. Let me do something like statements here. Let me copy it out. So guys, so this is it. So here now, in MySQL, in this package, in this MySQL package, and in normal MySQL programming and the rest, when you create your server, there's what they call parameter binding. So here, I'm going to do this. Put question mark here. Put question mark here. It means that they are called placeholders. Like they should be here. The values I'm going to put is something that will be provided later. So I'll use this to use them as placeholder. Then I'll continue. I'll now say now I want to execute the query. Now I'm using this pool connection that we've established in the constructor. All right, I'm using it because that's I want to connect to the database now and run my query. So to run my query, I will do dot execute. Now this execute method is what is going to execute my query. It's going to execute the query I'm going to give it. So what query is that? The query is this. I'll put the statement that I've defined here. Put the extra T. Right. Now, because of this two question mark here, I need to provide them the array values. So I'll put email array. Then I'll put the first one is email, right? So I'll put I'm sending the email here. I'm bringing the email here. So the email is passed as parameter. Then comma name. So this is it. So this email value will be put here, right? This name value will be placed here. Then my query will now execute. So this when this is done, I will have to return whatever it is. Okay. Type query as an iterator. Right, so now let me do this. Okay, so sorry guys, TypeScript, and it's hello guys, are you following through? Wow, it's almost time. Okay guys, we'll call it a day for today. We are introduced to TypeScript, to Express. So by next week, we'll continue we'll finish our code implementation. Then at the same time, we'll start our project proper. We'll see the demonstration of our project, then we'll start it immediately, and it's going to be very very robust. Like I don't know, my typing speed, because that code base is kind of is a blog post. So we implemented like three models. I'm going to use modular architecture for that. We're going to use a user and its authentication, and post creation and comment creation. So I think that would do it. So let's see how next week goes. I hope you guys enjoyed today. I'm going to push these codes and the slides to GitHub. If you're familiar with GitHub, please bring it, pull it, and use. Then by next week, I will introduce us to GitHub, how to create accounts and take pull and push code there. Then when that is done, I believe we'll have a good session by next week. So guys, let's call it a day. I don't know why I'm getting this error here. Okay, cloud create more service in my iterator method that trans and iterator. Okay. Alright guys, I'll stop my recording and we can leave the group. Thank you guys for coming around today. Thank you. Au revoir.